Hey man, let's be real for a second. No filters, no sugarcoating. Most men out here are chasing relationships like they're chasing oxygen, begging for validation, worshipping the ground she walks on, thinking that having a girlfriend is some kind of badge of honor. But the truth most men refuse to see? Relationships today aren't built for masculine peace. They're built to extract, to manipulate, to drain, and unless you walk into that fire with your eyes wide open, you'll be burned before you even feel the heat. Because the modern relationship isn't about love anymore, it's about control, about attention, about leverage. So today I'm giving you 10 reasons to never get a girlfriend, not because you hate women, but because you finally love yourself enough to see the game for what it is. Reason 1. Female loyalty has an expiration date, and it's your last good day. She'll tell you she loves you, she'll swear she's in it for life, but watch what happens the moment you hit a rough patch. Lose your job, struggle emotionally, stop giving her the dopamine hits she's addicted to. Suddenly, her love turns cold, her interest fades, her energy shifts, because in her world, loyalty isn't a principle, it's a feeling, and when the feeling is gone, so is she. That's the brutal truth. Most women are loyal to how you make them feel, not to who you actually are. So if you build your life on the illusion of female loyalty, you're building your kingdom on sand. Reason 2. Hypergamy doesn't sleep, it scans. Every woman, whether she admits it or not, is constantly scanning for a better option. Not because she's evil, but because it's instinct. Evolution wired her to upgrade, and in the age of Instagram DMs and artificial male validation, her options never stop growing. You might be good, but the second someone better walks by, she starts comparing, starts fantasizing, starts wondering. And the relationship you thought was stable starts eroding from the inside out, because hypergamy isn't loyal to the man, it's loyal to status, and if you're not rising, you're already falling in her eyes. Reason 3, you'll lose your edge. When a man gets comfortable, he gets weak. And relationships breed comfort. You stop training as hard, stop grinding as ruthlessly, you skip the mission to make room for movie night. You trade your empire for emotional breadcrumbs, and slowly you forget who the hell you were before she showed up. The fire dims, the discipline slips. Because now, you've got someone clapping for your bare minimum. And that applause, it kills the wolf in you. Relationships, especially in today's world, don't sharpen men, they soften them. They take the killer and turn him into a clown. Reason 4. Emotional manipulation is her native tongue. You might speak logic, you might speak facts, but she speaks feeling, and when she wants something, she won't argue like a man. She'll guilt trip, cry, withdraw, or play victim. She'll twist reality to fit her narrative, make you the villain for things she caused. And if you're not grounded, not deeply aware of her tactics, you'll end up apologizing for things you didn't do just to keep the peace. But that peace, it's not peace, it's submission. And once you start bending to emotion over truth, you're not a man anymore. You're a puppet. Reason 5. Your mission will take a back seat, and you won't even notice. Your time is your most valuable currency, and the moment you get into a relationship, it starts leaking. You invest hours into emotional check-ins, texting games, unnecessary drama, and fake crises that she created to feel something. And what's the cost? Your goals get delayed, your vision gets blurry, your grind loses its teeth, and all for what? A few moments of intimacy wrapped in chaos and compromise? Nah. A man who's on purpose can't afford detours, especially not ones dressed up in fake lashes and entitlement. Reason 6. Modern women are trained to see men as utilities. From childhood, they're told, don't settle. You deserve a king. A man should provide everything. And what do most women offer in return? Vibes, attitude, a list of demands. They don't want to build. They want the mansion already finished, and if you can't provide it, you're useless in their eyes. That's not love. That's leverage. That's not partnership. It's parasitism. And until you see that for what it is, you'll keep giving 100% to someone who's already thinking about how she'll leave if you ever hit 80. Reason 7. They crave drama to feel alive. You want peace. She wants stimulation. And when things are too calm, too predictable, she'll manufacture chaos just to feel something. Random fights, mood swings, testing your patience just to see if you'll break. And if you do, she loses respect. If you don't, she says you're cold. It's a trap either way. Because in her mind, love without chaos isn't real. But for a man with vision, chaos is the enemy. You're trying to build, to rise, to conquer, and you can't do that with a tornado in your bedroom, setting fire to everything you touch. Reason 8, you become her emotional punching bag. Society won't let her speak her darkness to her friends. She won't show her insecurities on Instagram. So guess who absorbs all of it? You, her man, her sponge. The one she dumps on, blames, lashes out at because you're safe. And if you dare respond with strength, you're called toxic. If you stay silent, she says you don't care. There's no winning. You're either the villain or the void. And all the while your soul is shrinking. Your peace is disappearing. And she sleeps soundly while you carry both your pain and hers. Reason 9, the reward rarely matches the risk. You pour in time, money, energy, sacrifice. And what do you get back? Maybe some affection, maybe some loyalty for a while. But it's all conditional, performance-based. The second you stop being her fantasy, the perks evaporate. There's no long-term ROI, no guaranteed respect. And if the breakup hits, she walks with half your assets, your peace, and a new man by Friday. You're left rebuilding what she helped destroy. And yet we still teach boys that relationships are the goal? No man, the goal is freedom, peace, power. And you don't need a girlfriend to achieve that. Reason 10, relationships no longer serve the man, they serve the narrative. The modern dating landscape isn't about love, growth, or legacy. It's about optics, status, social currency. Women aren't looking for real men, they're looking for storylines, to post, to brag about, to make their friends jealous. And if you don't fit the script, if you don't give her the movie she's trying to direct, she'll recast you, rewrite you as the villain in her next breakup post. And worst of all, society will believe her, because the narrative always favors her. So why even enter a game where the rules are stacked against you from the start? The hard truth is this: most men get into relationships hoping for peace, comfort, and connection. But what they don't realize is that women are trained, yes trained, to see relationships as a test of your masculinity, your strength, your usefulness. And every time you fail one of her unspoken tests, she loses a bit of respect. But here's the kicker: those tests never end. The moment you think you've won her over, another trial begins. And if you don't play the game with ruthless awareness, you'll be discarded faster than you can say, I love you. You ever wonder why the most ruthless, emotionally unavailable men have women chasing them while the kind, supportive guys get ghosted? It's because women don't respect comfort, they respect competence, they respect power. The more you try to please her, the more she sees you as weak. The more you open up, the more she wonders what you're hiding. The more available you are, the less she values your time. This isn't hate, it's psychology. Female nature isn't evil, it's reactive. And if you don't lead with dominance, she'll lead with doubt. A woman doesn't want to build with you. She wants to arrive at your finish line. That's why you rarely see women dating men on the way up. They wait until you've made it, until the money's right, the image is sharp, the lifestyle is seductive. Then they show up with charm, submission, and promises. But where were they when you were in the mud, grinding, doubting yourself, living on caffeine and sacrifice? They weren't cheering, they were watching, waiting. And once you're established, then they want in. Not because they love you, but because they love what you've become. You think she's staying for you, but often she's staying for the benefits, for the trips, the lifestyle, the safety. And when those things fade, so does her affection. And this isn't just about gold diggers, it's about the conditioning of the modern woman. She's been taught that her value is in what she gets, not what she gives. That love should be delivered, not earned. And when you wake up to that, it changes everything. You stop seeing relationships as safe havens and start seeing them as transactions, one-sided ones. You will notice, the longer you stay single and focused on your mission, the clearer your mind becomes. The more peace you feel, the sharper your instincts grow. And when you do interact with women, you see the game for what it is. You catch the manipulations mid-sentence. You read between the texts. You feel the shift in energy before the words even change. That's not paranoia, that's clarity. And clarity only comes when you remove yourself from the fog of emotional dependency. There's nothing wrong with love. There's nothing wrong with wanting connection, but what's wrong is entering a war zone with no armor. That's what most relationships are now, a battlefield of mixed signals, emotional warfare, and silent expectations. And if you walk in thinking it's going to be all sunshine and Sunday cuddles, you're already halfway buried. This is not about bitterness. This is about strategy, about understanding the terrain before you try to build on it. Because love, in its purest form, is beautiful, but modern relationships, they're something else entirely. She doesn't love you for who you are. She loves you for who you are to her. The second that version no longer serves her narrative, she'll emotionally detach, even if her body stays. That's why men feel confused, blindsided, even after doing everything right. Because what she wanted from you wasn't a partnership, it was a mirror, a reflection of how she wanted to feel. And the second you stop reflecting that ideal, you become a stranger, a problem, a burden, and no amount of love can fix that. You'll notice that when you stop chasing relationships, women suddenly chase you. Why? Because they feel the difference. Your energy is sovereign, your time is sacred. You're no longer begging for connection, you're choosing it. And that nonchalance, that grounded detachment, it drives them wild. Because most men orbit women, but a man who orbits his purpose, he becomes a sun they can't ignore. And even if they come near, they respect the heat. Because you're no longer the satellite, you're the center. Most of the strongest men I know are not in relationships. Not because they're incapable, but because they've tasted peace, and they won't trade it for chaos. They've built something sacred inside themselves: discipline, vision, freedom. And they know that most modern women will only erode that foundation, not strengthen it. They're not bitter, they're not lonely, they're clear. And that clarity is more powerful than any temporary affection. Because once a man knows his worth, really knows it, he never begs for love again. You'll hear it often, not all women are like that. And sure, there may be exceptions, but exceptions don't build the rulebook. You don't bet your life on outliers. You protect your energy based on patterns, not promises. And the pattern in today's world is clear. Hypergamy is real, loyalty is conditional, and most women are only as committed as their options allow. So stop fooling yourself. Stop romanticizing potential. Look at patterns. That's where the truth lives. That's where your protection lies. And until you do, you'll keep getting blindsided by betrayal dressed as affection. Every time you try to explain your pain, your struggle, or your pressure to a woman, hoping she'll understand, you forget one brutal truth. Women aren't designed to carry masculine burdens. They can't respect a man who dumps his emotional weight on them. They might console you once, maybe twice, but after that, the attraction dies. You become the burden, and she'll look for another man who makes her feel safe, not one who needs safety. That's why relationships today don't allow space for real male vulnerability. Because modern women are not built to honor it, they're built to exploit it. You don't become a king by catering to a queen, you become one by building the kingdom first. And that's the secret no one tells you. The moment you make a woman the mission, you lose yourself. You drift, you adapt, you compromise your vision for validation, and one day you wake up realizing you built a castle for someone who never planned to stay. That's why strong men don't chase, they attract. They build so powerfully that the right people come, drawn not by words but by the undeniable pull of purpose. Modern love is not love, it's performance. How good are your texts? How aesthetic is your Instagram? How well do you match the fictional man in her head? It's not about who you are, it's about how well you perform. And if you slip up, show weakness, reveal a flaw, you're out. Because in a world fueled by endless choice and artificial dopamine, women don't invest in men anymore, they sample. And the minute they feel bored, they scroll, they swipe, they fantasize about better. And you're yesterday's vibe. You think that by being consistent, caring, and available, you'll earn her loyalty. But in reality, that consistency becomes predictability, and predictability breeds boredom. That's why so many good men get left for toxic ones. Because the toxic guy brings uncertainty, drama, mystery, and that chaos mimics passion in her nervous system. She mistakes adrenaline for love. And you, the steady one, you feel like a chore, a habit. That's the twisted psychology behind modern desire. It's not healthy, but it's real. And if you ignore it, you'll suffer. Many women will never admit this, but they love testing men. Not because they're evil, but because they want to feel something. Certainty bores them, but testing, it gives them feedback. It lets them know where you stand, how firm your boundaries are, whether your confidence is real or just surface level. And every time you fail the test, by overreacting, explaining, justifying, they lose respect, quietly, slowly, until one day they leave. Not with an explosion, but with a shrug, because the man they were testing failed. Here's a dark truth that most will never say out loud. Many women love the idea of a man more than the man himself. They fall for the image, the status, the story, and when reality doesn't match their dream, they don't adjust the dream, they replace the man. That's why so many breakups come after your lowest moments, because the image cracked, the fantasy faded, and instead of standing by you, she trades you in like an outdated app. This isn't bitterness, it's pattern recognition. When you walk away from the relationship game, you don't become lonely, you become free. Free from proving yourself, free from walking on eggshells, free from decoding mixed signals and emotional sabotage. And in that freedom, you find something sacred: clarity. You start noticing how little peace you had, how much time you wasted trying to impress someone who never truly saw you. That's when you start building, creating, growing. And ironically, that's when women start noticing you, when you no longer want them. The more you chase validation from women, the more you lose your edge. You stop lifting for yourself. You stop grinding for your future. You start optimizing your entire life around approval, and you become predictable, soft, easily manipulated. That's not love, it's enslavement. But when you detach, when you reclaim your time, your energy, your focus, that's when you become magnetic. Not because you're trying to be, but because most men are too busy chasing shadows to even stand out. You stand out by standing still, firm in who you are. In today's dating world, silence is power, non-reaction is dominance, and indifference is attraction. Women will test you, tempt you, accuse you, and confuse you, not because they want to destroy you, but because they want to feel your strength, not your anger, not your love, your groundedness. That nothing moves me energy. And when they realize they can't manipulate that frame, they either level up or leave. And either way you win, because a man who holds his frame doesn't fear loss. He chooses what stays. When you step away from relationships and truly focus on building yourself, something rare happens. You begin to hear your own voice again. That quiet strength, that calm purpose, that burning clarity that used to get drowned out by the emotional noise. You stop asking, "What does she think?" and start asking, "What do I want?" And suddenly your energy shifts. You start becoming the man that no woman ever forgets, not because you tried to impress her, but because you didn't need her in the first place. Look around. Most modern men are trapped in cycles of overcompensating, over-texting, over-apologizing, over-giving, hoping that if they just love harder, she'll finally stay. But the irony is, it's your lack of need that makes you irresistible. It's your absence that builds intrigue. It's your emotional detachment that creates desire. Women aren't drawn to emotional slaves, they're drawn to emotional masters. And once you understand that, you'll stop selling your soul for scraps of affection. You have to understand, most women today are not prepared for the kind of man you're becoming. They've been conditioned for instant gratification, easy attention, and emotionally reactive partners. So when they meet a man who doesn't flinch, doesn't beg, doesn't explain himself, they panic. They test harder, they try to break the frame, and when it doesn't work, they call him cold or narcissistic. But deep down, they feel something they've never felt before: respect. And that's the rarest form of attraction. Never let a woman confuse consistency with weakness. Never let her frame your emotional control as distance. You are not there to soothe every storm, to mirror every mood, to validate every irrational spiral. You're there to lead, to show what grounded masculinity looks like in a world addicted to chaos. That's your role, not to be her emotional sponge, but her emotional standard. And if she can't meet that, she's not ready for a real man. She's still addicted to drama dressed as love. There's a reason ancient traditions had rites of passage, because men were not meant to enter life blind. They were trained, sharpened, hardened. But today, most men learn the hard way, through heartbreak, betrayal, loss. That's how you get your stripes now. through pain. And if you survive it, if you learn from it, you become untouchable. Not bitter, just done. Done being the provider of comfort for someone who only offers chaos in return. Done explaining, done performing. Your silence will always say more than your shouting. Your stillness will always dominate more than your chasing. Because in the storm of feminine emotion, the man who remains unfazed becomes the anchor. And even if she doesn't say it, even if she resists it, she feels it. That deep masculine calm that doesn't budge. That's what she truly craves. That's what makes her obsessed. Not your words, not your promises, your unshakable presence. Most relationships today are built on mutual illusions. She pretends to be the dream girl, you pretend to be the perfect man, but neither of you are being real. And eventually, the masks slip. And when they do, most couples realize they never even knew each other. That's why the strongest men build alone first. They master solitude, they conquer themselves. So when the right woman shows up, he doesn't need her to complete him. He invites her into a world he already owns. You don't need to swear off women forever, but you do need to swear off delusion. You need to commit to never tolerating disrespect, never chasing validation, never losing your center to emotional games. And once you do, you start seeing the truth in every interaction. You read between the lines, you notice the subtle manipulations, the disguised tests, the invisible hooks, and instead of falling for them, you observe them, calm, unmoved, powerful. The man who doesn't react, doesn't explain, doesn't chase, is the man she can't stop thinking about. Not because he's playing games, but because he's not playing at all. He's just being fully, confidently, detached from outcomes, rooted in truth. And that energy, that's what drives her wild. That's what makes her rethink every other man she's ever known. Because you're not giving her what she wants. You're offering her something far rarer, what she respects. So if you're still wondering whether to get a girlfriend or why it never works when you do, remember this. In a world of illusions, your power lies in reality. Don't let your purpose drown in her emotions. Don't trade your peace for her affection. Don't waste your fire trying to warm someone who only shows up when it's convenient. Protect your energy, guard your mission, and if you ever let someone in, make sure she adds peace, not confusion. Clarity, not chaos. And truth, not tests. That's not selfish, that's survival.